Vision 2020. It has been a little minute. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning in. So yeah, it's been about, 6 months since I made a podcast, so forgive me if I'm a little rusty. I feel kind of awkward, not gonna lie. I feel super awkward on camera and on this mic right now, but we're gonna power through it. So I kind of want to talk about the biggest thing for me that's changed since I was recording last time. If you notice, if you're watching on YouTube, my background is different. New place. I bought a condo. So I'm now a property owner. Thank you, Lord, because that's what's actually crazy. If you would have asked me July 1st, the 4th of July of this year, what are you going to buy a house anytime soon? Hell no. It was not on my radar at all. I had no savings. We'll get into that as well. Also, I knew nothing about the process of buying property or buying a home. So I was just like, that's way too much for me. Never mind. I already feel overwhelmed on a daily basis, in general, when I'm not doing anything. So it just seemed like way too much for me, not even on my radar. What I always told myself was, I'll wait till I get engaged or get married till I buy a house so I can have help. Well, no. I'm in this, I don't want to be I'm independent, but my train of thought was I need to stop renting because I've rented. So I calculated all of the money I've spent on rent in the last, since I was 18. And it was $35,000. Okay. $35K on rent. All of that in the trash. So I was I'm 26, gonna be 27. I should probably get my shit together and just look at houses. It was so random. I was literally laying in bed, pulled up Zillow, and then I wanted to view a house. So I went and viewed a house. And once I viewed that first house, I was set on it. Nothing was going to stop me. I needed to move out. And I loved my old house, by the way. I loved it so much. It served its purpose. And it was time for me to get a fresh start, fresh scenery. A big reason why I moved too is because, God forbid, whenever I go to trial, well, not me, whenever I testify at trial against my ex next year, if something happens and he doesn't get jail time, I don't want him to know where I reside. So that's a big one. So now he no longer knows. And I guess I'll talk a little bit about the condo. I love it. First of all, I've never lived in an apartment before. I've never had to share walls. And I was super, I was hesitant. I can't lie. When I was first looking at properties, I was solely looking at houses. I was not even considering an apartment. I was like, why would I buy an apartment and go in debt for an apartment or a condo? I'd have to share walls? Hell no. But let's start from the beginning. So I viewed over 12 properties, maybe 15. I put 5 offers in that all got rejected. And I was even bidding $10,000 over asking. People were still outbidding me. People were paying in cash. It was wild out there. And also while I was kind of still in the process of looking and touring homes, I remember I posted on Facebook and I was like, should I buy a home right now? Because, everyone's the market is a seller's market. People are going crazy. It's not a good time to buy. But ultimately, I'm glad I did. I think I made the right decision because not only am I going to save on rent for however many months it takes for things to turn around again. So I got my first 5 offers rejected. I honestly, going into it, I just assumed I would get rejected on this place too. But the way it worked out was so perfect. So originally I had been approved for not a conventional loan, a first time home buyer's loan, FHA loan. And that would have only required me to put 3% as a down payment. But at the last minute, literally I put my offer in on this place and my real estate agent was like, look, because it's a condo, there's some sort of restriction that says you have to use a conventional 30-year loan instead of a FHA loan, because I guess like none of the people live, like all the people living here are tenants. Like no one is owning it and living here except for me right now. So I had to switch at the last minute. I called my like Scott Credit Union agent and explained it to him. And within minutes, literally he approved me for a 30-year conventional loan. The only thing is I had to put it down 5% versus 3%. And we'll circle back, but I didn't have a savings. So it's a miracle this even worked out. Like, I blow my own mind. No, it wasn't me. It was all God, to be honest. Like, I don't know how it happened so perfectly, but it did. So I got approved for the 30-year conventional. And then, so when you're buying a house, after you put an offer in, if they accept it, you move forward with the appraisal. Like, that's required. Inspection is optional. Did I get my inspection? Don't tell my parents, but I definitely skipped that part because I was cutting corners, you know. And honestly, don't, I'm not a professional. I'm probably the last person whose advice you want to take. I'm just telling you like my story of buying a home last minute with no savings. And within a matter of it took me August to October, so 2 months, and I was moved in. And it's mine. I actually just made my first mortgage payment, and it actually felt kind of good. Like, I was like, it's so expensive. Really, it's not expensive, just compared to the rent I was paying before. But if I had moved out, because that was the thing, I wanted to move out either way. But if I had moved out and just rented another place, I would have been paying at least $1,300 a month for somewhere I would actually rent and want to live in. And my mortgage is only $1,100, which isn't bad for a 2-bed, 2-bath place. It has a loft area right up there, which honestly sold me on the house. It has like a little skylight. So cute. I love it. But yeah, so circling back, sorry, my ADHD is in full swing right now. CVS has been out of Adderall for the last month. So I'm just swinging it. I'm just raw dogging my life right now. So yeah, so after you get the appraisal, okay, so I guess it's just the market we're in right now. But I basically, long story short, I offered, I think, $5K more than what this place appraised at. And it was like $10K more than what they were asking for. So I offered $5K more than what it appraised at. And basically, because of the market, normally when someone's selling a home, if it's like a buyer's market, the seller would just go down and like match the appraisal price. So you don't have to pay more, because why would you pay more? But in this market, I had to like cover the difference. So I had to come up with an extra $2,500 to cover the difference in my offer price. And then I had to come up with 5% down instead of 3% down, which was like, I think around maybe $6K. Honestly, I don't really remember. It was something like around $6K was what I needed for a down payment. And then closing costs. And I wish I don't know. There's just so much I didn't know going in, and I just learned on the spot while going and asking questions. All in all to close, the total was like 10,600 something, 650 or something like that. So I needed to come up with like 10K to close, and I didn't even know what the exact number would be, because like the original estimate they gave me was closer to 14K. I didn't realize that, so I also ended up buying, and I guess you don't have to. Sometimes the bank will do it for you, but I bought a year's worth of home insurance prior to closing. So that came off my closing costs, and that was like $1,000. And it worked out for me because I just put it on a credit card, so I didn't have to have the cash for that. So that was you know what I mean? That saved me like an extra $1,000, $1,200 on the cost that it would have taken to close. So I had to come up with 10K. How did I do it? I was able to thankfully dip into my retirement. And I know some people don't feel comfortable doing that, but like for me, it was worth it because I'm 26 buying property, and that property like is going to save me money in the long run and allow me to expand my like financial portfolio, if that's even the right word. But so I was able to take like over 5K out of my 401k, well, 403b, but that doesn't really matter. I was able to take $5,000 out of that, and it didn't like penalize me. I don't have to pay it back. It wasn't a loan. It was called the hardship withdrawal. like it didn't really affect me. And I still have enough money in there now where it's like I'm comfortable with it. Like it wasn't really a loss to me. It was going into an investment. So I was able to dip into my 401k. So if you are like late 20s looking to buy a house and you might need some help, I would look into your options. If you pay into like a 401k or retirement, look into your options, see if they offer any sort of like withdrawal. They will probably definitely offer loans like that you pay back into it, which isn't a bad thing either because you're not necessarily getting penalized. You do pay taxes on it, but it wasn't that bad. Like it really wasn't bad. It was totally worth it. But yeah, so that was like a big chunk for me. So that still left like 5K. But like I'm just setting the scene. Like I was on such a time crunch, literally 2 weeks to come up with fucking $5,000. Like I didn't know what I was going to do. So my way, definitely unconventional. Don't recommend it. But if you're in a bind and you really need to get out and renting isn't an option, you know, you got to finesse it. Like that's just what I did. That's just what it is. So what did I do? I sold like so much of my stuff. I went through all of my belongings and sold. I don't know if you guys remember in the background of my old videos, but my old house had so many shelves. Like the entire perimeter of the studio was all shelving. So I had bought so much, like so many decorations, plants, crystals, like just I had so much stuff that I didn't need and I wouldn't need in this house because I literally only got it to fill the shelves there. So I sold like all of that, like straight hustling on Marketplace. But no, seriously, like I was just meeting people constantly. I have like so many purses. I sold purses. I sold shoes I've never worn, like clothes I've never worn. I recommend anyone who needs extra cash, go through your belongings because chances are if you're like 99% of other people, you have so much that you don't need. Whether it's clothes, you know, decorations, junk, I don't know. Just go through your stuff. And honestly, I kind of have like a history of doing that anytime I move. Like back in 2018, whenever I moved from Illinois to Missouri, I did the exact same thing, sold everything. And I was just renting still. I sold everything in my house because I decided to move on the drop of a hat. I've actually done that so many times, like move states on the drop of a hat. Literally like 4 times. It's kind of wild. But it always works out. It always works out perfectly. It's just like blind faith, I think. I think that's honestly the key to everything is just faith. Like you can call it, you know, praying, manifesting, but it's really just the faith and knowing that believing that something, you know, will happen. Okay, yeah. So I sold as much as I could, which helped me out a lot. I got a decent amount of money, over $1,000 just from selling things. And I was selling them cheap, like $5 here, $10 there. You know, like I just did it nonstop for days, like in between my work schedule and trying to figure everything out. And then the biggest thing, and I, again, don't recommend this at all because on one hand, I like kind of fucked myself a little bit, but it was worth it. I had about a month since the time I found from like, I put the offer into closing is 4 weeks. So I got paid twice during that time. So I was able to just take my entire paycheck, both weeks I got paid, and just like pay the necessity bills and keep everything else just in my bank account. So I would have the access to the cash when I needed to close. So like I didn't pay my credit card bills 1 week. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do. I paid like what I needed to pay and then just kept the rest. So that was a few grand that I was able to put towards it. And then last but not least, my grandmother, my Mimi, she did give me a check for $1,000. And it was literally worked out perfect because I think I needed around that much left. And literally I got a check in the mail like 2 days before closing. It was 2 days, maybe 3, because the check had to clear. It worked out perfectly. It was exactly what I needed. I had everything and I was able to still like rent a U-Haul and do all of that. So it worked out perfectly. Again, this is not like good advice that it may not work for you. It might not be the best thing for you. But, you know, it worked for me. I believed that I was going to get a property. And I can't lie, a few times I like broke down crying like after my offer got accepted while I was waiting to close because I was like, there's no way I can come up with all this money. Like, there's no fucking way. And then at one point, I thought there was like a lien on the property because they were talking with the title company, and like there was taxes that were back paid, and I guess like they have to be paid or else that's on you if you buy that property. So they paid it and everything was fine, but like I legit thought I wasn't gonna get it a few times, and it was just heartbreaking. I was like, I cannot stay in my house. Like I need to leave right now. That was basically a short summary of everything. But like that's my advice. If you like need to come up with if you're wanting to buy a house and you need to come up with closing costs and like you don't have a huge savings and you have some credit card debt and you know you don't have the best credit score, because God knows mine used to be way better than it is now. I'm going to work on that though. Maybe that'll be a future video, how I got my credit score back up to over 700. But we're not there yet. But yeah, I just I was blessed with the gifts, but then I also hustled, sold my stuff. I worked all the overtime I could at work during that time. Oh, also my at my job you can like edit like what taxes you want out. Oh my God, that's a huge part too. So for then like the main check, when I had a lot of overtime, I just elected not to have my federal taxes taken out. And I had to like go back in and redo it so they would come out so I don't owe like thousands of dollars next year. But so like for one check, it like gave me an extra 500 because they didn't take any fucking taxes out. And I'm just like, that's so much money that I hope is going towards something useful. It was definitely quite the process. Totally worth it though. And also I feel like if you're buying for the first time, buying like a condo or an apartment that where you don't have to worry about lawn care or like roof maintenance or anything outside. Also, I don't have to worry about trash. I don't have to take a barrel to the curb every week. I just throw it in the dumpster, which is like 20 feet away from my back door. I never have to worry about it. It's in the HOA fees. I do have HOA fees, but honestly, 100% worth not having to worry about any of that, at least for me. So like if you're a single woman or even if you're a single man and you just don't have time, like you're busy, you don't want to keep up with yard work and shit, condos and apartments are definitely not a bad idea. Oh, that's what I was talking about earlier. I was always like afraid to share walls, but this place is so quiet. Like first of all, it's in a subdivision. I've never lived in a subdivision in my life. Like I feel fancy. Like it's the nicest house I've ever lived in. It's so quiet. I never hear my neighbors, and I know both of them on each side have children, like small children, and I never hear them unless they're outside. So the sound, like the walls are like pretty decent quality, I'm assuming, because I don't hear shit, which was like my biggest thing. And all the neighbors kind of keep to themselves, which I like. I just, small talk, not for me. Maybe catch me on a good day, but like just in general, like the neighbors that every time you're outside, they want to like talk to you. Like that's not my vibe. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just wanted to, I don't know, give some people some hope that like, because I'm telling you, I was the last person I would ever expect to buy a house. Like if I knew I was ending off the year a homeowner, I just simply would not have believed it. Like it's just wild. My main pieces of advice are like, don't give up. I had 5 offers rejected before this. So don't give up. You're going to have offers rejected. Like don't get attached to any house. Also, don't make quick or rash decisions. I will say before I put any offers in, I was about to put an offer in with a different agent, and I like didn't. It's a different agent I was working with, and I didn't really. It was my first time putting an offer in. I didn't really know what I was doing. And I almost put an offer in for like something I really, 1, couldn't have afforded, and 2, looking back, comparing it to this place, would not wanted to have lived in. So I was able to like, originally I was looking way higher than I should have been, because I got approved for like almost 200K, like as a single woman. So I was looking up there. Not the best idea. So I was able to bring that number down significantly, and I'm still so happy with where I'm at now, and I don't have a yard, and I don't have to worry about the roof. So that's great, because like when you're looking at houses, I didn't know this, but like I'm glad my parents, they didn't come with me to view this place, but the first few houses, my dad was like inspecting the roof and looking for like shingle stacks, and it's just a lot of things like I wouldn't have thought about, like the HVAC system and how old is the air conditioning. I think that's the same thing. But it was just a lot goes into it. But it's also not as daunting as it seems like. Because I'm telling you, there is literally no way in hell I thought I was going to buy a place. But really, just don't overthink it. Like, trust your instinct. And take your time at the same time. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's a lot at once. And it's like a lot of things thrown at you, a lot of paperwork, a lot of information. You're running numbers constantly, like this place versus this place. And every area has like different tax brackets where you pay into. Like, I don't know. It's just super complicated. Thank God the real estate agent was a family friend. So she was amazing. She was looking out for me. So I had that advantage. I would not recommend using the same real estate agent who's listing the property as your real estate agent, because then like they're not gonna be looking out for you as hard as like if you had a single real estate agent just for you. They call that like dual real estate, dual agency. I don't fucking know, but it's like dual agent something. Don't recommend that because that's what almost fucked me up the first time. Also, I didn't know this. So going into it, I didn't really know you could only really work with one agent. It's like, if you talk to multiple real estate agents, it's like, oh, that's a no-no. You have to have one agent, which makes sense, like thinking about it, because they are working with you, showing you the houses. I just didn't really know that. I was just like contacting the agents listing the properties. Huge red flag. Do not do that. Get your own agent. They're everywhere too. Like just Google social media. Agents are everywhere. Get you a nice agent. They schedule all the viewings for you. My agent was awesome. We would literally view like 5 houses a night, and she would have them all lined up. She like had packets printed out with like information for each one. So I definitely recommend getting an agent who knows what they're doing. Again, they'll have your best interest in mind. But yeah, it's just whenever I paid my rent or my mortgage a few days ago, it's just like, yeah, like that's like $1,000 or whatever, but I'm like putting it into my future me's pocket. So whenever I like sell the house, like I'll eventually have a profit. Although I will say, that's another reason why I wanted to get a condo, and why I recommend, if you're buying and it's like just you and it's your first time, get a condo or like an apartment or even a duplex. But that's the ultimate one, because then you can live on one side, rent out the other side, live for free. But you know, that's a lot more work as well. Because usually if I want to get a duplex in my price range, it would have had to be like dilapidated. And I would have had to put in work. And I just wanted to move in. I didn't want to do any work to move in. I'm getting way off topic. Circle back. Renting. I'm going to rent it out eventually. This will be my first rental property whenever I'm ready to move. So in my mind, like I see the next 5 years, like that's the time I'm 30. Maybe I'll be getting married. Maybe I'll be engaged and we can get a house together. Or even better, if he has his own place and I move in with him, I can rent out this place and it will be my first property. And by that age, I'll hopefully be way more like financially stable and like really doing my own thing. But I want to I want to set myself up so I can have other streams of income in the future. And honestly, property is like, I don't know, it's like one of the best things you can invest in, truly. And the location, I love the location, dude. Like I legit thought, and like maybe I had too much of a small mind, but growing up, like I never thought especially me alone, would be able to afford to buy a place in such a nice area, nice neighborhood. It works out perfectly for me. It's like perfect amount of time to work, my family's, friends, anywhere I want to go, all within like, you know, a decent amount of time. But yeah, overall, I would 100% recommend buying as soon as you can, because the market is always going to fluctuate. Like, yeah, it might still be a seller's market, but also interest rates are slowly going up. So even though mine wasn't super low, it was like 6% for my interest rate. But like, I guarantee you in 6 months from now, they're going to be closer to 10%, 12%. That's what it was like way back when I was listening to someone's parents talk about. They had like a 12% interest rate. Like, no, thank you. No, thank you. But that's kind of my plan. This will be my first rental property. And it's like a baby step into home ownership, because I'm still like, you know, I'm still like the inside, you know, I can do whatever I want. I already have plans when I get extra money, little thing like light fixtures I want to change, or like bathroom fixtures, like things in the kitchen to make the place more like luxury. So whenever I rent it out, I can, charge a decent price. But yeah, I'm excited. I feel like this was just something so off my radar and so in the future that like it's just still really hasn't sunk in yet. It's still kind of a shock that I actually like got it. I was so happy when I moved into, like, literally so happy, like, this place is mine. Like, I don't know. Super exciting. If you already have a house, or no, actually, if anyone has like rental properties now, I'd be interested in picking your brain, because I want to know what I'm going to get myself into, because realistically my goal is by 30 be renting out this place. So within the next 4 years have someone living here, so I'm getting the money. But yeah, that's kind of like my little story. I'm now a homeowner. The studio is different. This is actually my living room. I don't have a TV. I don't own a TV. My only couch is this futon. Eventually, like, I have plans. I just don't have the furniture and stuff right now. So this is like my little impromptu setup, but it works. I'm very happy with it. I don't know. I just feel very thankful. So yeah, if anyone is like thinking about starting the whole process of becoming a property owner, if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up, because I'm telling you, going into it, I was the most uneducated, unprepared person going into it. And if I can fucking do it, anyone can do it. That's pretty much that on that. I do miss podcasting. It took me like a few minutes to like get comfortable, like, on the mic again. It's kind of like intimidating. Other than that, it's almost December. For the month of December, I'm going to attempt to not drink any alcohol. Maybe I will for New Year's Eve, but I don't know. On that note, I'm also not an alcoholic anymore. I'm also not bipolar. My doctor said, my psychiatrist, because I'm seeing a psychiatrist and I'm back in therapy now, not bipolar. And I'm also off my Zoloft, which I'm going to have to do a podcast on coming off SSRIs, because brain zaps, bro. And if you don't know what a brain zap is, you're lucky. Yeah, on that note, go be productive. End off your year try to end off your year doing like healthy, good things for yourself, because new year, so it's like a new chance. Like, it's a new chance. So you're going to set the tone for the entire like next year of your life. So make it count. Be smart. Be safe. Vision 2020.